dark, chilly autumn night with a gentle breeze brushing past, a woman stood helplessly beside her broken-down car on a deserted road. Suddenly, an unfamiliar car stopped, and its courteous driver offered her a ride. What seemed like a simple encounter left an indelible mark on her heart. However, it wasn't until 3 years later that the truth about the man was revealed, forever altering her perception of the world. Have you ever wondered how a seemingly insignificant moment could profoundly impact your life? Join us as we unravel this surprising and meaningful story, where kindness and humility touched a heart in the most unexpected way. Thank you for supporting our channel. Many more fascinating tales await you at Mr. T Story. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss our latest content. Wishing you endless joy and peace. That night, Emma was driving home to Austin, Texas, when her car suddenly stalled on a desolate road. The cold air bit into her skin, and the darkness seemed to swallow everything around her. Only the occasional beams from passing vehicles pierced through the shadows. She checked her phone, only to find there was no signal, and her battery was nearly drained. Her chest tightened, and her hands gripped the steering wheel. The thought of waiting in the lonely cold sent a shiver down her spine. As she debated whether to walk back to the nearest gas station or wait in place, a sleek car slowed to a stop beside her. The driver's window rolled down, revealing a man in his early 40s with a friendly demeanor and an air of calm confidence. Emma hesitated, but with limited options, she accepted his offer for a ride. Sitting in the passenger seat, Emma felt unease creeping in, but the man's composed and approachable manner gradually put her at ease. He was dressed casually, just a t-shirt and jeans, and the car didn't scream luxury, resembling a standard rental from an airport. Nothing about him or the vehicle felt overtly threatening. The driver broke the silence, asking her if she'd had a long day and what she did for work. His voice was deep and warm, showing interest without prying too much. As the conversation continued, it transitioned into broader topics. He spoke about the future and how technology might revolutionize the way people live. Ideas that sounded like something out of a science fiction movie. Yet, his explanations were grounded and surprisingly easy to follow. Emma found herself sitting up straighter, her eyes fixed on him, curiosity evident in her gaze. He elaborated on ambitious projects like space exploration, electric vehicles, artificial intelligence, and the prospect of humans living on other planets. Unable to hold back her intrigue, Emma asked, "Are you a scientist or a businessman?" He chuckled softly, sidestepping her question, and redirected the conversation back to her life. Before long, they arrived at her apartment building. Relief washed over Emma as she realized she was safe, but she also felt deeply grateful. She thanked him, remarking on how rare it was for a stranger to show such kindness. He waved it off with a modest smile, as if it were no big deal. Before she stepped out, he handed her a plain business card, devoid of any logo or title, bearing only the name Elon and an email address. "Feel free to reach out if you ever want to discuss those ideas further," he said. Emma tucked the card into her pocket and headed upstairs. She chuckled to herself, replaying the peculiar evening in her mind. At the time, she assumed he was just an enthusiastic tech enthusiast with grand ideas but little means to execute them. The business card was soon forgotten, tucked away in a drawer as a memento of an odd night. 3 years later, while scrolling through her phone, a headline caught Emma's attention. It was about Elon Musk. Her brow furrowed as her memory stirred. That face, it was undeniably familiar. His voice echoed in her mind as if she'd just heard it yesterday. Her heart raced as she rummaged through an old drawer, eventually pulling out the same plain business card. She stared at it in disbelief. The kind man who had offered her a ride that fateful night turned out to be one of the most renowned figures in technology and innovation. A man constantly making headlines for shaping the future. She never imagined that peculiar journey would hold such profound meaning. What seemed like a fleeting, inconsequential evening turned out to be connected to someone shaping the course of the world. Emma stared at her phone screen, her gaze locked onto the video playing in front of her. Images of Elon Musk, his space projects, electric vehicles, and artificial intelligence captivated her, making it impossible to look away. His face, it was eerily familiar. Suddenly, as if struck by a bolt of lightning, Emma froze. Her heart pounded as memories from 3 years ago flooded back. The man with the warm, resonant voice, the modest car, and the conversations about the future. She couldn't believe her thoughts. Her entire body felt immobilized, her eyes fixed on the screen. Her hands trembled, and her breaths grew quick and shallow. The name Elon Musk echoed in her mind, pulling her back to a cold autumn night, with a light breeze brushing past her face. She vividly recalled how calmly he had spoken, his demeanor unassuming, yet his eyes shining with extraordinary vision. She replayed his words in her mind, his musings on technology, space, and the future, realizing now how skillfully he had shared his outlook without ever revealing his identity. Emma's pulse quickened at the realization that she had unknowingly spent time with one of the most groundbreaking thinkers of the era. It felt as though the world around her had come to a standstill. She sank into her chair, her hands cradling her forehead, as she pieced together fragmented memories of that night. His words, which had seemed abstract back then, now carried profound weight. He had spoken of the future as if it were within arm's reach, with a quiet but unshakable confidence. A pang of regret washed over her. Her chest tightened at the thought of the business card she had carelessly tucked away in a drawer, dismissing it as a trivial souvenir. She remembered the passion in his voice as he shared his ideas, and the rare humility he exuded, never once mentioning his own stature. Emma shot up from her seat, rummaging through an old drawer with growing urgency. Amidst a pile of crumpled receipts and scattered papers, she finally found it. A small, unassuming business card bearing only the name Elon and a simple email address below. Holding it in her trembling hands, she felt her heart pounding in her chest. She sat back down, opened her phone, and began composing a message. Her fingers quivered slightly as she typed, "Hi Elon, I don't know if you remember me, but 3 years ago, you helped me when my car broke down in the middle of the night. I just wanted to thank you again and let you know I've only recently realized who you are. Our conversation that evening truly meant a lot to me, even though I didn't fully grasp it at the time." She paused, taking a deep breath before pressing send. The screen confirmed her message had been delivered, but Emma didn't expect a reply. To her astonishment, just a few hours later, a response arrived. The reply was brief yet filled with warmth. "Thank you for reaching out. I'm glad to hear that. Would you like to meet and talk further? Perhaps over a cup of coffee?" Emma read the message repeatedly, almost unable to believe. Her eyes, the man who dominated headlines and symbolized technological innovation, not only remembered her but was willing to spare time to meet her again. The day of their meeting arrived, and Emma found herself at Cozy Corner Cafe well before the scheduled time. Her hands clutched a glass of water as her eyes scanned the room, trying to anticipate what the conversation might entail. Memories, thoughts, and emotions swirled within her, blending into an eager anticipation tinged with nervous excitement. As the door of Cozy Corner Cafe swung open, Emma instinctively held her breath. She saw him immediately. Her heart seemed to skip a beat before racing ahead, yet her body relaxed in an inexplicable way. His face was just as she remembered from that night. A calm demeanor, a warm smile, and a serene gaze. As he approached the table, Emma felt her hands grow warm, as though the familiarity he exuded radiated into the space around them. "Hello, Emma. Of course, I remember you," Elon said with a gentle smile as they shook hands. The natural ease in his voice dissipated the tension that had been building inside her. They began talking as though no time had passed. Emma recounted that night, the suffocating feeling as she stood on the deserted road, the faint glow of passing headlights, and the cold seeping through her layers. She described the helplessness she felt when her car broke down and the immense relief when he stopped to help. She admitted that over the years, she had thought of that night often but had never imagined the kind stranger could be Elon Musk himself. Elon leaned forward slightly, his gaze thoughtful. "Emma, you know, I meet countless people in my life, but there are certain encounters that stay with me. You're one of them." He paused, a fleeting smile playing at the corners of his lips. I don't usually say this, but if you'd like to work for one of my companies, I think we could always find a place for you. Emma felt her chest tighten, not from anxiety but sheer astonishment. The magnitude of his offer left her momentarily speechless, her fingers clasping tightly under the table as her cheeks grew warm. Elon continued, his voice low and sincere. I'm always looking for people who understand that technology and compassion must go hand in hand. You said that conversation had an impact on you, but it truly meant something to me as well. I want the people on my team to see the bigger picture and genuinely care about the world, not just profit margins. Emma bit her lip gently, feeling a surge of energy course through her. They delved into discussions about his current projects, his grand visions for the future, and humanity's role in an ever-changing world. She found herself utterly captivated, as if transported back to their conversation on that cold road years ago, but now with a deeper understanding of the man and the weight behind his words. As their meeting came to an end, Elon handed her a new business card, this time with his personal phone number. If you ever need anything, or just want to chat, don't hesitate to reach out. And if you decide to join our team, it would be a great honor. Emma shook his hand one last time, feeling the warmth of his palm in that fleeting moment. She stepped out of Cozy Corner Cafe with a peculiar sensation. It felt like the closing of one chapter and the beginning of another entirely new one. Emma knew her. Life was about to change in ways she had never dared to imagine. All thanks to the unexpected kindness of a stranger on a dark, desolate road. The story of Emma and Elon Musk is not just a tale of serendipity but a profound lesson on life. From one small act, stopping to help a stranger on a cold night, came a connection neither could have anticipated. What can we take away from this story? Kindness has the power to change lives. Even the smallest act of kindness can leave a lasting impression. Elon Musk, one of the most influential figures in the world, demonstrated humility and compassion, reminding us that kindness transcends status and power. Opportunities often arise from the most ordinary moments. Emma's life took a turn from a chance encounter. This highlights that valuable opportunities often lie hidden in the least expected situations. The key is to recognize and embrace them. Never underestimate the value of relationships. Elon Musk didn't just help Emma out of a tough spot. He opened a door to extraordinary possibilities. This story reminds us that every person we meet could become a vital part of our life journey. What about you? Have you ever experienced a moment that changed your perspective on life? Perhaps an act of kindness you show today could become the spark for a meaningful story in the future. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment below to share your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories like this. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video.